me to dance, taking a chance. Telling me to dance, taking a chance. Telling me to dance, taking a chance.
Out there in social media land. It's another evening with Uncensored Conversation with your girl, Victoria. And look, I have the phenomenal guest on tonight, so I need you to go out there and get your pens and paper ready because you don't want to miss any of the amazing nuggets that my guest tonight, Coach Catrina Reese, is going to bring to us. I am super excited to be back. I know you guys have been missing us. But hey, we had to make sure we had something super special when we came back. And this young lady is going to bless us in so many different ways with all her beautiful programs and all the things that she is doing to bless not only the kingdom of God, but to bless each one of you and you out there. So Catrina, it is such a pleasure having you back in the house with me on today. It feels like forever. So we're so glad you're back with us. So guys, I want you to get, like I said, get out there and get your pen and paper ready because I want her to be able to share with you some amazing things. And usually, Catrina, I leave it up to my special guests to introduce themselves because who better to know you than you? So come on in the room and tell the people exactly who you are and what you have to bring to the table tonight.
Wow. Well, first of all, Pastor Victoria, thank you so much for this opportunity. It has been a while. We both have been busy doing what God has called us to do. Amen. Yep. And even with some personal, tragedy we had going on in our lives, we still have been keeping our hands to the plow, right. And I also want to thank you, for your diligence and my heartfelt condolences for you on the passing of your father and to your family. So know that, trust me, you are always in our prayers, and whatever we can continue to do for you, please let us know. Please let us know. But I am so excited to be on. I am Catrina Reese from Charlotte, North Carolina, and I am just about being, God's child, excited about what he is continuing to, allow me to do right now. I believe that in this season that I am in is all about God. It's all about him pushing me, motivating me, no longer being afraid, no longer allowing the enemy to tell me that, you're doing too much, or, you need to stop doing this, you need to stop doing that. One thing that I do remember right before my mom passed, and I was sharing this with my dad and my sister today, was that I remember the last day I went to go see my mom that Thursday before she passed, and she was laying there and I could see that she was at peace and she was ready. Wow. So one of the things that my mom always told me was, don't worry about your past. Your past is your past, but go ahead and be obedient to what God has called you to do. And I always was afraid of that. I've done things here and there, but and I've had a lot of, opportunities to be on stage, on voted for various awards and different things like that. But let me tell you something, when you're doing it for the wrong reason and God
Yeah.
sits you down and reminds you that,
Mhm.
okay, you've strayed. You're way away from where I've called you to be.
That's
You have
right.
gotten kind of hooked up into the pats on the back and the accolades,
That's right.
and I need to reel you back in.
That's
So
right.
that was during, I would say, during the season, that was God's opportunity and my opportunity to sit down and just say, okay, I'm starting from a clean slate.
Yep.
I really have to just let go of all this other stuff and
That's
just
right.
be obedient. Just be obedient.
That's
And
right.
the more I have realized that it really is about being obedient versus what people say, because people are going
Woo.
to love you or they're going to hate you.
Come on now. Come
It
on
don't
now.
matter what you're doing, either you're doing too much or you're not doing enough.
That's
And
it.
I really realized, that now that I had the opportunity to finish my devotional, God said, you're finally free. You're not finally free from everything, but you know what I'm saying?
Right. That's
But the
right.
people pleasing and making sure that everything's in harmony and always making sure that, you keep everybody in line and this, that,
Yep.
and the other. And God was like, why are you holding on to everybody else's stuff?
Come on. Come on.
You
Agree.
can't. And then going through the heart, surgery, that was
Yes.
just holding on to stuff that wasn't mine to hold on to.
That's right. That's right. And
So
see you
yeah,
in
I
the
would say that's it.
see you
Yeah.
in the house, and you and to our people out there watching, Pastor Yolanda, Miss Carrie, and all of the other folks that will be tuning in. You in the house for sure, for sure. Matter of fact, you kind of tipping on some things that Pastor Yolanda preached about today. So I know, I know it's
All
about to
right
get
now.
real up in here, and here. And see, this is the thing, though. You said so many powerful things, and again, thank you for your condolences. And we've been sharing, even when the passing of your mom, and even through your surgery and different things. And so, a lot of times, people don't realize the simple things, that can take us under. And
Mm,
in our experiences with family shutting down and doing what we need to do are very similar, because I got to that point too. Katrina, it's like, people are going to talk about you, like we were talking before the show got started. People are going to talk about you one way or the other, and people are going to tell you that you're doing too much one way or the other. But as long as we're doing what God has empowered us to do, and we're doing it according to His plan, then
hmm
nothing else matters. Nothing else matters. Because if we're doing it His way, then we're always going to succeed. It may not, some people say, well, you're not a millionaire yet. Well, that's a matter of opinion. That's a matter of opinion, because you don't see the dollar signs in my bank account, which you shouldn't be able to see that anyway. But at the
Correct.
end of the day, people are not going to understand how effective God's blessings is, that gives you the same $1 million in your account, to have peace when you ain't got nothing else, when nothing else matters, and you can find the peace. That means more than anything. So it is, look, it's been a lesson learned, how to say no and how to say I'm done. And
Yes.
I don't know about, well, I know a little bit about your story, but when God said, when He shut me down with my health, and He said, you know what? You're not doing this no more. You may think it's bad, but it's not bad, because you have to learn how important living is
Come
when
on.
you're
Come
almost
on.
dead. I'm sorry. You can almost be dead before you realize that you really got something to live for.
Woo! Let,
I'm
let me tell
sorry.
you something. All I can say is it's just confirmation, because I remember when I went into the doctor's office, and he pretty much told me that, you are a walking time bomb,
Hey,
literally. And
hey,
I would, and the other part about this, Pastor, is we already get the signs. whether
Come
they're
on.
physical, whether they're spiritual, whatever. We just feel like, oh God, I got to keep on going. I got to keep on going.
Yep.
And God will shut you down.
All the way.
He will shut you down all the way. And
Yes, he will.
so and thank God I had a Christian doctor, because he was like, first of all, we're gonna pray. He prayed with me before I went into my surgery. He prayed with me afterwards. So I knew that this was just ordained by God. And
Right.
when he told me, he said, now you may die of any, you could die of something, but you're not going to die of a bad heart, because God is going to go in there and he's going to do what he needs to do to fix
That
this.
part.
But when I came out, that probably was the hardest thing. I was a little fearful going in, but when he prayed and with me and my family, the peace of God came over me.
That's
But
it.
it was when I came out, and
That
then I really felt the physical pain and the work that I know that I needed to do to get back to where God wanted me to be,
mm-hmm.
laying there, not being able to get up, having to depend on the doctors and the nurses to turn me, and having all these tubes in me. I'm telling you, that is a moment in your life that you realize that, what, the only thing I can do is sit here and talk to God.
That's it. That's it. See, people don't understand that. They think that, well, I'm not going to say people, some folks choose houses and land. Okay, I'm stop. But sometimes people just don't realize that that moment when everything in your life stops and you have no choice but to depend on God.
Yes.
You don't have the luxury of friends, family, and foes. You just don't, because those things sometimes will not be available, should I say, when you need them to be available.
Come
And
on.
sometimes it's that very moment that God is saying, you know what, I need you to know that it's really me and you. It really is me and you
Mm-hmm.
against the world. It's me and you. Okay, Carrie, I'm gonna say me and you against the world. It's just me and you against the world. And at that very moment is when you begin to say, okay, I get it. I get it. Now, do we know always how to handle it? No, we still have those moments where we're cautious, we're afraid, we're fearful. And I know y'all gonna say we don't have the spirit of fear, but we have some characteristics that can be questionable at times. But there's nothing wrong with that when you have, because sometimes that's a part of the evaluation.
Yes.
That's
Yes. Yes.
self-evaluation. And we've been through the coaching thing for years. But that's one thing that we talk about is that self-evaluation. And when you go through that self-evaluation, some things become clear to you. Some
Yes.
things are evident that if you just turn it over to the Lord and he'll work it out, because he will. But at some point, you got to take an evaluation of what's keeping you from doing what you need to do. And
Mm.
it's like it's like you are many of you we're gonna talk about this more. Okay, see, Pastor Yolanda, you need to stop. See, you need to stop. See, Pastor acting up. She's showing out. But this is the thing, because I'm talking to Pastor Yolanda, I'm talking all this week about Gethsemane. Okay, stop now. Anywho, but this is the moment. That was the moment, though, that some people don't realize that that's when you stopped and you had to say, let me take that evaluation of me. Because
Every
everything
day.
around you ain't looking good.
Yeah.
But you already know some things. Some things were put into position or in place for you, but you didn't take advantage of it. You began to hesitate and doubt yourself, but not because
Yes.
you didn't know that you couldn't do it, but you were listening to all of the chatter in your ears. You were
Now let me
looking
tell
at
you,
mm,
look, ooh, now let me tell you
mm,
something. Now you
mm,
you hit it right there. I have learned, and this has taken some time, because we still want to be liked by people. We
yes,
still want people to support us, love
yes,
us, but we cannot position our faith, our walk on what people think.
correct.
You have to position your walk, your journey, your destiny, your vision on where God is leading you, and
That's it.
then the people that you are supposed to help. A lot of people miss that point. They think that, oh, I'm going to be on these big platforms, these big
Yes.
stages, and that's great when God opens that up.
When you
But
open the
there's
door.
but there are times when you just have to continue to walk it out. I don't care if 2 people show up. I don't
That's
care
it.
if 2 million people show up.
That's it.
God must still get the glory out of the 2 people, and he still must get the glory out of the 2 million.
That's
So
it.
you have to remember, people, they're going to do what they want to do anyway.
That's it.
But you have to always be obedient to the voice of God.
That's right.
It's easy to have mentors. It's easy to
Yep.
have pastors, apostles,
Yep.
teachers to help guide and mentor you.
That's
But the
it.
bottom line is, God showed me probably in the last 2 to 3 years, you got to listen to me first.
Come on.
You must listen to me first.
That's right.
It's amazing how God will give us a word, and then we got to wait till we get confirmation before we
Come on.
walk it out.
That's
God
it.
said, "Oh, hold up, whoa. That means you don't trust me." And it took me going through some things to understand that if he said it, even if it looks crazy to somebody else,
That's
I
right.
still got to do it.
That's
I
right.
still got to do it. His word has shown us over and over and over again, those that just stepped out on faith and did. They probably were hesitant. We know about Jonah. Jonah
Come
was
on.
like, "No, I ain't going. I'm
I ain't
just not
doing it.
going." And what happened?
That's
But
right.
I love how at the end God always shows us, once you trust him and step out, it's
Mhm.
going to be okay. It's going to be okay. I think that is the fear factor within us as being humans.
That's
We
right.
want to see the end result before we take the step.
Come see, now you missing. Now you're missing. Now you're missing. So look, guys, those that are just now tuning in, we thank all of you for showing up on tonight. Look, I apologize if I don't call your name by name, but we do see your comments over in the box, so we can see all your comments. So welcome. Ken, all of you, Kay, all of you coming in. We thank you for joining us on tonight.
Share it, everybody. Share it.
Share. Because there is more to be told in these few minutes that we're going to be on here. So you can't miss your opportunity when God is speaking in the atmosphere. And to those of you, just tell them out, we got the one and only, my famous sister, Catrina Reese, is in the house, and they don't want to miss this opportunity to hear what this woman of God has to say. Look, Catrina, we're going to take a quick break. I want to give people an opportunity just so let me just be real, so we can get us a glass of water. And then we're going to come right back. So guys, take a look there's some things that we still produce around here at Victoria Elevates and Elevated Not Tolerated and all the good things. But just in case you forgot who we are, take a look at this.
Telling me to dance, taking a chance. Telling me to dance, taking a chance. Telling me to dance, taking a chance.
All right. And again, we are back on Uncensored Conversation, and my phenomenal guest is the one and only CEO of Catrina Reese, LLC. Catrina Reese herself is in the house on tonight. So go out there and make sure you tap in. Look, she's going to tell you some other amazing things, and I also want to go ahead and put this in your guys' ear. Catrina is one of our special guests at the Favorite is Fair conference. Is coming up in May in 2026. Look, guys, you don't want to miss it. She is one of our workshop hostess. And also Pastor Yolanda Smith is one of our mentors who will be closing out the conference. And we've got a whole lot of other folks that's going to be on panels, and we got workshops. But I'm telling you, Favors Fair 2026 is coming back in May, and you don't want to miss it. It's going to be in the beautiful city of Greensboro. So come on in. And it is sponsored by People of Unity Faith and Praise Ministry. And we're super excited that Catrina can be with us. She is going to be doing a couple of things. Look, Catrina, let me wink my eye. She's going to be doing a couple of things for the conference, and you don't want to miss it. It's going to be phenomenal. We haven't done it in the last 2 years, but when God said move, I move just like that. So you don't want to miss it. And guess what? Miss Carrie Nelson Price is going to be our caterer of the event. So, baby, y'all get ready for that brunch because it's going to be tight. I can guarantee you. So, Catrina, I know we've been talking about a lot of things, and one of the things that I want to make sure people know about you, because I may have to call you myself for this, as soon as God releases the other part of the party. But Catrina Reese is the phenomenal wedding officiant queen of rock and roll with weddings. So I want you guys to go ahead and write your information down. If you need somebody that's going to help you say I do. But she also does something else that, you also do marriage counseling with your clients. And I think that is phenomenal. So tell us a little bit about the wedding business and how you got into it. And what makes, I know this is your thing, this is your baby, but tell the people what makes it so unique for you. I mean, I've watched you start from, and I'm going to say it this way, from rock bottom and to you are at the top of the game. People look for you not only to do their weddings, but they look to you as well as mentoring other people that want to do it. So tell us a little bit about the business.
Wow, it just kind of, I'm not going to say it fell in my lap, but it really kind of did. It started out, my sister had a really good friend of hers that had been married before, and they really didn't want their pastor to marry them. She was looking for, she had been married before, and she didn't like the style of her pastor. And again, I've been licensed and ordained since 2006. Never thought about marrying anybody. I've done funerals, brought the word, been part of conferences, different things like that, but never wedding. So we sat down with her and her fiance, and we talked about it. She wanted to do counseling because I was also licensed in relationship and marriage counseling. And that's kind of how it started. Once I sat down and I really began to see that it does take you sitting down, understanding the couple's needs, what they want, and then finding out what do they want out of the marriage? What do they want out of this, this union that God is joining them together? I'm just the vessel, but God is joining this union together. And so as I began to do more of understanding, is this really where you're calling me, God? Are you calling me out of a music ministry, which I thought was my calling, but God really began to shift some things and move, me into that arena. So that's kind of how it got started. And then from there, I was like, well, let me do a little bit more research and just kind of see. I've always been a people person, even though I'm very introverted, but I've always just been that type of person that I just love to see couples. I love marriage. I was a wedding singer, sang in weddings and churches and things like that. So I saw how weddings, were positioned and how they started, but I never saw it from the minister or officiant, capacity.
Right.
So from there, that's kind of how it started. And I was like, okay, this could be pretty cool. So I started research. I'm the type of person, I research everything.
I know that's right.
Read about everything.
Yes.
Is this really what you're calling me to do? Just because I'm doing it for a friend doesn't mean this is what you're doing. But I really enjoyed it. I love being up there, being able to talk to them, being a previous divorcee, also knowing, what mistakes that I made in my previous marriage and what I felt, could be just wisdom that I could give, or, just some nuggets to other couples. So
Right.
that's really where it birthed from not only just writing a few books, to get out there, understanding that communication,
Right.
that foundation set, knowing God and having God as the foundation of your relationship is very, very important. Now you
Right.
can have couples that may be on different spiritual levels. One may be a little bit more saved than the other,
Come
but
on.
first thing that you have to understand that foundation needs to be set first.
Right. Right.
Foundation must be set. And I've known couples, even people that I've been around, been to church with, that this one of the spouses wasn't, a believer. You know what I'm saying? But they stayed married for years. Now, what took them to stand together? The respect and understanding that God has put us in a covenant.
Right.
And so, even though the husband may not be a believer, he may have gone to church every now and then, he understood and respected the covenant that God put them into. And that's the most important thing. I think couples need to realize you need to find out that spiritual foundation for your marriage. Make sure that you are both there on the one accord. And if you're not, then you may need to reevaluate, where you need to be. I have had couples that I've done sessions with, Pastor Victoria, they decided not to get married.
Wow.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I've had many, 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 because I think they realized from the beginning that if we don't get this set up right first, we're
Right.
not going to make it. We're
Right.
just not going to make it. So I've had a lot of couples that have said that, you know what, we want to go through the sessions that you talk about. I do deep dive into, your spiritual life, knowing that you both must have a spiritual base and
Right.
be able to pray together, and
Wow. That's
respect
good.
that and
That's good.
respect that. That's the
Yep.
big thing. So understanding that spiritual base needs to be set first and then growing from that. You're
Mhm.
not going to always be spiritual. You ain't
Right.
going to be playing nearer my God to thee
You
when
better
you
say it.
laying up in the bed, kissing and necking and, trying to,
What you
do
mean?
what you want to do. But see, I keep it real with them. They
You
think
mean
that,
you ain't gonna be
you
you ain't-
can't be spiritual 24/7.
you mean you're
Not
not
when
gonna be
it,
sleeping at the cross?
not even at the cross. At the cross. When I first saw the light, oh Jesus. No. You ain't thinking about the cross when you laying there with your partner. Come on, come
Woo.
on, y'all.
Get it.
I see that, and see that's
That's true.
why my couples, they tell me you keep it real, Miss Catrina. I do, and just think
Right.
about it. What happens if one day, and it will, when your partner can no longer fulfill you that way?
Come
You
on.
got to find other ways in your marriage and in your life. Do you even like this person?
Come on now.
you
See?
know, you might get mad at them, and y'all might fall out, but at the end of the day, do you still like this person? I believe that you should like the person that you're going to marry. You're going to love them, of course, but do you really like them? Do you respect them?
Come
I
on.
tell couples all the time, if I sense any type of domestic violence, any type of, that kind of stuff,
Right.
I'm going to call you out and I'm gonna say, y'all need to go, y'all need to go work on this. One of y'all need to, I'm real with them.
That's good.
And I think that is what has made me, I'm not gonna say successful, but I'm gonna say for God to keep leading those couples to me that need to hear the truth,
Well, I'm going to say
about,
you're very successful in it because I keep saying, and look, guys, if you have not already gone out there and tapped in and sent her a friend request, you just might want to do that because I keep seeing, I mean, I love all of the pictures. I love all of the things that you share about your couples and the places that you be going as well. And we're going to talk about this too, how your husband is now part of the entourages of marriage as well. But it's just amazing that, your success is, we can see it. You started off again, you started at the rock bottom of it, and you've taken this whole industry to a whole nother level. And I was reading your bio and I was like, oh my God, look how many. And the awards and stuff, it don't blow our heads up. Some of y'all blows y'all's head up, but this don't blow our heads up. It just speaks of what what you've accomplished. But you are successful in this because now you're training other people how to look for certain things when you're marrying couples. Guys, I'm telling you, if you haven't been through her training, you might want to tap in and find out when she's going to do that next one, because she's very thorough. I guarantee you, I've been through the class. I know. So when you are, I'm hearing you talk about couples that come to you and you're doing real things with them to get them prepared. You're one of few people that I've ever, other than those that are doing it in their churches, you know what I'm saying? You go to your pastor because your pastor's going to be the one that do your ceremony, so you got to go through the training. But you are one of few that I have heard use the phrase to find your spiritual connection. Because a lot of people think, well, if a person's not in the church, then they don't have any inclination about what marriage is for and where it came from. But for you to even impart that into couples, regardless if they end up getting married or not, for you to impart that into them is a door opening for many people, because people, they're always telling us we have to separate church and state. We have to separate God from our businesses. A lot of times, there's ways to bring in the good Father into our businesses if we are, we're strategic about it, and that's one of the things we're going to talk about at the conference, being strategic. And so when you have been, and I'm sure you've had this happen, when you have come across people that have said, hey, Catrina, why, you're bringing God into this thing. That isn't good. You should keep God out of it and just marry people. What would you say to someone out there who is in business and they know that God has led them into their business, but people tend to say, keep it separate? What would you say to that person out there tonight? Because there's some of us that have gone through it.
Well, and I would say I probably have. I want to kind of piggyback on something that you were saying earlier about success, and I give God praise for that, because that is, again, we look at success in different ways. People see that, oh, you're doing all these weddings, and I got reprimanded behind the scenes because people were telling me that, oh, you're posting too much and this, that, and the other, and blah, blah, blah. And, oh, so you must be making a lot of money, because I'm pretty sure you ain't doing these weddings for free. Pastor Victoria, I'm telling you, people don't realize when you begin to open up yourself to social media, and people start seeing your success, or seeing you, operate in your calling, they think that all of a sudden you got all this money and, oh, you're doing too much and you should stop it. But for one thing, I always ask my couples, because I have a contract. I say, is it okay? Because I am always about promoting my business. Is it okay if I use your image? And they always tell me, yes, no problem. If I have a couple that don't want me to post anything, I won't post it.
That's right.
Because I treasure their privacy. So I have had I've had couples that neither one of them were believers. But I always tell them that I am a minister of the gospel, and let you look at some of my ceremonies.
There you go.
And some of my ceremonies that I don't out and out throw God in their face. But there's a way that God has shown me that I can talk about how the covenant of God, how important that is, and the wording of it to make them understand how important this is. And that even though they may be getting married and they think it's all, roses and sunshine, there is still a covenant that you have come into, that is a religious covenant, and you have to remember that. And a lot of times they don't get upset because they, deep down, I think they understand that
Yeah,
marriage is a covenant, you
that's
know.
right.
Now, those are the people that's doing that other stuff on the other side. I let y'all do that. Celebrants do other things. You know, there's all different types of ceremonies that can be done out there. But I
Right,
let them know these are certain ceremonies that I do not do
right,
because of what I believe and what I know to be true and how God has blessed me. So, yes, you will have times when people will say, well, you know what? I'm just not going to do that kind of wedding, or I'm not going to do that. That's your choice. I always
right,
tell people, you do, if God has given you a piece about it, then you do that.
right,
And
right.
don't let people tell you what you can and can't do because they're going to do what they want to do.
That's right.
So you do, and follow God's leading. And that's all I'm going to be able to, that's all I'm going to say about that. Because
Right.
again, I cannot base my business, I cannot base my salvation on what somebody else's thinks they know about me. You don't
That's
know
right.
me.
That's
You
right.
don't know what I've gone through. You don't know the nights that I've cried, and I seek God for certain things. And when he tells me no, I've gotten to the point where I say, okay, God, if you said no, you
Yeah.
know, my husband always says, all money ain't good money.
Come on now. You better say that. You better say that because that's the truth. And I think that's where, a lot of times, when people are going into business, they're a little fearful of not doing certain things because if okay, let me put it this way. If the only reason why you're doing something is because of the money, then that's not your passion.
Mm-hmm.
You
Mm-hmm.
got to love what you do, and you got to and you have to set those boundaries of what you will and will not do, and you have to stick to that. And sometimes that's a hard piece to swallow because you may lose a potential customer. You may lose a potential opportunity at an event or what have you. But at the end of the day, do you have the peace of mind of what you did for your business? Are you following the principles that God laid out to you to do your business? Because it's a lot of times you may lose. I mean, I can think of some wedding people, doing events and stuff that I was like, no, I can't do X, Y, and Z because that's not a part of what I do. And sometimes, if people really trust you in your business and in your ventures, people don't get mad. The people that you turn down, they don't get mad. They appreciate you for being honest and not taking their money, right?
Correct,
It's those
correct,
other
correct.
jokers out there that they fabricate and do certain things, but they do things behind the scenes that makes you uncredible. And your credibility doesn't last. So
Correct,
when you
correct.
are doing the right thing and when you are producing your business the right way, sometimes you may have to pick up that phone and say, hey, yeah, there is a delay in getting your order finished, but I promise you I'll get it well, I don't say promise no more. I say I'll get it to you at a certain date because it's a part of your integrity. It's a part of your character. And being able to set boundaries and tell people no isn't a bad thing. Saying no is absolutely a great thing. It's a one sentence that you don't have to worry about. One word sentence. That's it.
Correct,
No.
correct.
And
Oh
you can
yeah.
and you can establish good business principles just by learning what you are capable of doing. Like you said earlier, people will tell you you're doing too much, you're doing too much. Well, God has a funny way of telling us when we're doing too much, y'all.
Yes, he
If you seek
does.
him first, the Bible tells us to
Yes.
seek him first. So if you're seeking him first, he will tell you, do this wedding, but I need you to take a break next week. Do this event, but I need you to take a break next week. He will direct your path if you allow him to. The thing is, some of us get greedy.
Ooh.
I'm
Oh,
sorry if
no.
anybody's offended, you can clock off of this show because I'm gonna keep it real. That's the reason why we call it uncensored conversation
But
because
let
you
them keep, but you have
greedy.
to keep it real with them because
Yeah,
there's going to be a time in your business, in your life, that everything ain't going to be going the way you want it to go.
no,
And you're going to be like, well, I did everything, that I was supposed to do. And sometimes it's just an opportunity for you to sit back and say, okay, God, do I need to look at this from a different perspective? Or do I need to do so? COVID required a lot of
Come
people
on.
to
It
pivot.
did.
In
It
the
sure
wedding business, as I go back and I look from where COVID started, because I started doing weddings maybe 2 years before COVID hit. And when COVID hit, I heard so many people in the wedding industry. It didn't matter whether you're a planner, caterer, venue, whatever. They were afraid because that was taking money out of their
yeah.
pocket.
Yeah.
That was their livelihood.
Yeah.
I know of a lot of businesses that had to shut down
That's right.
because they didn't have anywhere to pivot to. They didn't
That's
have
right.
anything else to do because they couldn't have people in their venues. You know, I had one of the great things about being an officiant was there were some couples that were like, okay, we can't get married today. We can't get married next week. We can't get married at our venue, but we can still get married. So elopements were very big during that time, and that's when I really had to
Right.
bring, that's when I brought my husband on because it was so many people that were reaching out to me, asking me, I want to get married. And I know in North Carolina, we only need 2 witnesses, but we really want to get married on this day. And then next year or whenever, they lift, the ban off, then we'll go ahead and, do our big wedding. So
Right.
that was when a lot of people looked at it as bad, depending on where you were in the industry.
That's
For
right.
us as officiants, we were able to pivot. I tell people I pivoted through marriage counseling, premarital counseling, and through elopements because
Right.
people still wanted to get married on their special day. It didn't matter whether you had a big wedding or not, but you still wanted to get married. So
Right.
I would say you have to understand when is the right time to pivot. I
That's good.
think a lot of times when
That's good.
my daughter and I, the first of the year, my youngest daughter, she was my problem child, and I tell people this all the time, and she don't have a problem with me telling you that. I pray for this child. When she was out in the streets, now she is saved, sanctified. She loves the
Wow.
Lord. She has a
Wow.
beautiful son, 5 years old. She and I went on a fast together the first part of this year, right after my mom passed, and that was the most, I would say, eye-opening and encouraging time because that gave me another opportunity to see where was God taking me from this point.
Right. That part.
Where are you leading me, God? Because it's almost like sometimes you feel like you've hit a brick wall, you've hit a ceiling, and you can't go any further.
Come on
And I was
now.
like, okay, God, I love doing weddings. I've met every bridezilla I could actually meet because they are out there and they do
Oh
exist.
my Lord. Yes.
But where would you have me to go from here? And again, like I said at the beginning, my mom, right before she passed, she looked at me and she said, "You're gonna be fine. Go ahead and do what you need to do, baby. You ain't gotta hold back no more." And I was like, well, I should have heard that from God. And God was already telling me that,
Yeah.
but I
Yeah.
needed to hear it from her. And I
Right.
don't know why, I can't explain it. But once she gave me that go ahead and say, "You're gonna be fine," and it was like the floodgates open.
There you go.
It
That's
really
it.
was stuff that God had been, downloading in me. And I know He does it to you as well. When God downloads some stuff into us, you got to write it down. Sometimes it may
That's
not be
it.
the time for you to release it.
That's it.
You may
That's
have
it.
to sit on it and let it marinate a little
See,
bit.
then you're missing again. You're missing. You're missing.
You got to let it marinate a
Yep.
little bit,
That's right.
but that's okay. That's okay because when it's time, it's time. I'm telling you, we talked
Yeah.
about that. Timing is so important.
It is. It is. Look, guys, if you're out there listening and you just tuned in, which I don't know why you waited so long, but if you're just tuning in, we are talking to the phenomenal Catrina Reese of Catrina Reese LLC. She is phenomenal, and you may want to go ahead and tap into her so that you'll be able to follow up to what God is doing in her business. Let me ask you this joke of a question. I think I kind of know the answer, but what's it like working with your husband in the business? I love seeing those few. I love seeing those pictures every now and then that you pop up and it's you and him doing a ceremony together, or either you're talking about how he's doing such a great job, and you could just look. You can first feel that emotional connection that you two have. But what's it really like working with your husband in a business like this?
Okay, okay, this is uncensored, right?
Uncensored conversation. Yes, ma'am.
When we first started, it was rough.
Wow.
I'm gonna be honest. I love
Wow.
my husband. That's my rock. You know, that man, he'll fight you over me, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it was hard because my husband is an alpha male.
Okay. Okay.
And when you are a woman that, you know, you've been through a lot, you've been hurt in a bunch of relationships or whatever, and then you finally get a man that really wants to take care of you. He's not jealous of you. He
Right.
really wants to see the best for you.
Right.
And it took me a long time to allow him to lead and guide me. I'm putting it out
Wow.
there. You have to make
Wow.
sure that as an independent woman, when that man, that right man comes along, you have to sit down and allow him to lead and guide you correctly. If he's leading you and guiding you, you know, by God, you know what I'm saying? I mean, there's a
Right.
lot of men that can lead and guide you down the path to hell. But
Come
if he's
on.
leading and guiding you and God is with him and he's only wants the best for you, then you have to be able to say, you know what? Let me just be quiet sometimes and just listen to what he's got to say. And he gives me so much great insight and he sees things sometimes that I don't see. So
Right.
when he does that, I sometimes have to step back and say, I never thought of it from that perspective. So it took us a while because, you know, I still wanted to lead. And, you know, of course I needed to let him lead, but we began to be on an even keel. And he learned so much from me because he would go with me to my weddings. You
Right.
know, he would be my photographer pretty much, you
Right.
know, but he would go with me and he'd be like, you know, I see how you really minister to them, how you really talk to them, how you share your heart with them, even though you're on a program schedule of what they want, but you get an opportunity to minister to them.
Right.
So he really began to see that. And my husband is a people person. He really is.
Wow.
And so as he began to do it, he realized that he really, really loved it. He really,
Oh
really
wow.
did. And he met his first bridezilla, and I had to coach him through that because I had my bridezilla. And so just us being to go back and forth with each other and, you know, give each other, you know, pointers of what we could do better, you know, it really started to work out. And he sometimes gets well, he got a call today while we were leaving my dad's house. And you know, people see his page on Google and they see his reviews and everything. And they gravitate toward him and he's learning as he sees, you know, me be able to elevate other officiants and help them, you know,
Right.
some of those great things that you need to know as an officiant.
Wow. So in your and so you just brought up another question. So in the industry as you see it now, do you see a lot of men that are going into being officiants where you didn't see that in the past?
Oh, well, you got to remember there were more men at the beginning anyway.
Oh
As
wow.
I go back and do a lot of history and go back and look to see, you know, just especially in North Carolina,
Right.
there were a lot of officiants that were coming out of churches because
Right.
they were ministers and they were marrying people in their congregation. But it was a lot of men. I even get now where some people that reach out to me and they're like, I see that you know you are officiant Reese is Reese's wife, and we don't want a female officiant. We want a male
Wow.
officiant. Do you think he would? You know, so people have preferences.
Oh, that's
Everybody
good.
just doesn't always want a female officiant, and men have been the dominant for a long time. But
Right.
women are really, you know, blowing it out the water now because men were in church. Your pastor, he was a man, so he married you, and that's just how you went with it.
Right. But now you're offering options that people didn't have before.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's where, when we start talking about social media and things of that nature, that's the good part of social media, guys. Don't just look. See, most people look for the bad stuff that's going to happen. They look for the bad reviews. They look for all of the bad stuff. It is not always bad, guys. Social media can be used as a very great tool, just as long as you do like anything else. Don't get so absorbed in it that it overtakes you. But so in
Yes.
this case, those social media is opening up avenues for people that may have not known that they had different options. Like you say, you don't have to just go to your church for your pastor to do your wedding. You don't have to just go to this place and have this particular wedding done. You have options now that you didn't have before. And you have somebody like Catrina Reese that can direct you into the right place to go to get that done and also get that counseling that you need. So I want to spend the last few minutes talking because it's hard to believe it's almost we've been talking for almost an hour. It's hard to believe that. Look, that's what you when you're in good company though. So Catrina, tell us a little bit about the books that you got coming out. I know people have been looking at your different books and the different things that you've done. She is a best-selling author, y'all. Look, when you wonder why does this woman have all this time, God will make space for you. He will make space for your gift. So don't ever think that he doesn't. But she is a best-selling author. She's also a publisher. I'm gonna tell it all. She has been a ghostwriter at some point in her career. She teaches people how to do this stuff the right way. So Catrina, tell us about your books and all of the phenomenal things with that, because I don't think people realize that you even have some books out there about being an officiant and the things that you talk about, even with the business. So share with us something about the books.
Well, I've been an author for a while. When I first started doing my music, actually, I had pretty branded myself as a singer songwriter. But as I began to, move more into the wedding industry and writing and, authoring books, I understood that you had to be able to publish it and to get the royalties, you needed to be your own publisher. So that was kind of how I started out being a publisher. I didn't really do it to publish other people. I did it more so for my own personal branding, because it was me that wanted to get 100% of my royalties and not somebody else as I was publishing my music. So it kind of just fell over into the books. My first book was From the Heart, and that really was a love letter to God. And so I've had that. I've got time management books where I've, helped people with time management as a life coach. But as I began to write things down, and like I said, God downloads so much stuff. There were relationship books that I've published before. So those things are out there, but he began to give me an urgency.
Come on.
About getting what I needed to get out. And again, I think that goes back to just the physical trauma that I went through with my heart, that at this point, I can no longer sit on the information.
Right.
And even with the training of officiants, God had been dealing with me with that way before I started doing it. I was like, ain't nobody gonna want to listen to me train them about how to be an officiant. And then I would start getting inbox about, how can I learn to be an officiant? And there were other coaches out there that were more famous than me, that have been doing this for years and years. And one of my mentors is Chad Macy, and he's here in North Carolina, and he had to pivot. He was a successful officiant, was doing Asheville, all of that upper area. And he realized that it was time for me to start training, taking what I know and giving back. And that is really what our life should be about. If God has given you a mission in life, you just can't be a gatekeeper. You have got to take what you know and you have got to give it away.
That's it.
Because you can't take it with you to the grave. Now, there are some people that have taken many, many gifts to the grave because they never, stepped out on faith and did what they needed to do. Why would you want to take a gift that God gave you and you never give it back?
That's right. That's right.
It's all about giving back and taking that knowledge and giving it to someone else, and so they can be better than you. I'm not
Right.
afraid of
That's
there are more officiants that are better than me, coordinators, planners, they're out there.
that's right.
But you do what God has called you to do. Be diligent in that. And it always says, if you give it to them, they will come.
Yep.
Well, you just give it to them and they will come. And that's just how God has been with this. He has
Well,
allowed me to push forth my finally free devotional. I
yeah.
just recently just finished my 30-day devotional with a group of people that came on, and we just went through the book. I went through the journey with them because God put me through the journey. So
Right.
why not be the best person to go through the journey with them, but the person that God, gave you the information and wrote the book.
That's
So I
right.
went through a 30-day devotional with them. He gave me chosen because I was like, God, I don't feel chosen. He was like, yeah, you are. From the foundation of the world, I
Come on
chose
now.
you.
Come on
So
now.
go sit down somewhere and finish that book. So I was able to do that. I got another book coming out called "It's Time to Change Your Language." I was always bad about contradicting myself. I would
Yep.
say, "Oh, God has blessed me," but then on the other hand, I would say, "No, He ain't blessed me."
Right.
Okay, why are you contradicting yourself, Katrina? You already said God bless you. I already told you, but yet you're walking in this fear that you're not blessed because you're not seeing the tangible evidence.
That's
You'll
right.
see the tangible evidence when you step out.
When you step out. See?
So that's just what he has done. He's allowed me to now release what he had been giving me all along, and I'm just grateful for that. Children's books. I've got children's books out there. My grandson Amir has been the instrument behind that. I
Uh,
just launched my candles,
oh
and my
wow.
affirmation candles and affirmation cards. I just finished those. I've got
Awesome.
a men's affirmation cards. I've got women. I've
That's
got
amazing.
couples affirmation cards. I've got date night cards that now
Uh-oh.
are getting ready to come out. So God has just been releasing so much, and He said it was time. It was
All
time.
right.
So I praise God for that. I just
That's
thank Him
it.
for that. I
That's
take no glory from that.
I know that's the truth. And the thing is, I was listening to you. See, people don't know I've been watching stuff. I watch stuff now for good reasons though, Katrina, because some people watch stuff. I'm sorry, I'm just gonna be honest. Some people watch stuff so they can steal from you.
And we talked about that years ago, didn't we?
We certainly did. Hey, and this is how I'm looking at it now. Look, I didn't used to look at it like this, Katrina. Now, the last 2 years, I told you, 24 and 25 showed me some things. But now I look at it. Well, if you got to steal it from me, that just lets me know that I'm really good at what I do. So you can have it if you can get it, but you ain't gonna get it like I got it. Okay, let's
And,
just say that.
and the other part about that is too, think about it. You have a whole different connection of people that God wants you to touch.
Exactly.
I have a
Exactly.
whole different connection of people that God wants me to touch.
That
Each
is
and every
true.
person on here tonight, they have an assignment of people that God wants them to touch. So
That's
why are you afraid to release it? Just let God give you
okay.
what He
That's
wants you to have. Give it in your unique way, your authentic way. That's one thing that I love about this new wording. They're talking about authentic and you real you. Give it in the way God gave it to you. He don't want you to give it to me to give it to you like Victoria gave it out. No,
be
you
yourself. Be
you
yourself.
be yourself. You give it the way And now I'm at the point now I don't give people the sneak peeks because if you see
Oh,
something coming out, it's already done.
see, see,
It's already done. I ain't
see.
gotta say when I say it's coming out. You could best believe it's already
It's
edited,
already
and
done.
I'm already waiting for the date for the release. It's
That's
already done,
it.
so I ain't got to worry about you stealing it because it's already in the
And
work.
see, that's the thing. And I know you probably heard me talk about this, and we actually did a class on it. The 3S theory: silent, strategic plan for God to show up, right? And I was teaching it, and then God stopped me in 24, and He said, "Shut up. I want you to use silence, strategic plan, because I'm going to show up. You don't have to make no announcements of
Yes.
something that's happening, because if it's all, if like you said, if it's already, if I'm going to announce it, it's already done. That's the reason why I
Mm-hmm.
don't come on weeks ahead of time and say we're going to do uncensored conversation. You'll know it when you see it. Because if you see it, then it's already a done deal. But at the end of the day, we talk too much and we lose the power behind it. We
Mm-hmm.
talk. Hey, I can say it for myself because I learned it the hard way.
Me
Sometimes
too.
you are giving away too much information when you have not even completed the assignment. You ain't even completed the rough draft, baby. Can I just tell you, if you ain't even did with the first thing, which is write the vision and make it plain, you ain't even got no preparation to be talking about nothing is going to be released. And that's what it took me some time to learn that, because I was always trying to make sure, I got to make sure I get this done before I got to no, I'm going to get it done when God says it's done. I go back now and I let God review what I've done. I
Mm-hmm.
do self-evaluations on my stuff now, where I didn't do that 3 years ago. I
Yeah.
didn't. I was producing. I was kicking it out there. And now it's time where I sit down and I'm just like meditating on some things. I know some people say, well, I know. No, you don't know. You think you know, but you have no idea what I'm doing
Mm-mm.
until you see it done. Even with classes now, I haven't done a full class since last year. Some people think, it's because she had death. No, it's because I'm processing things differently. When you
Mm.
see it, you can get it. But at the same token, I don't care how much you're doing. Catrina, I have talked to other coaches, other life coaches, and because this industry is full. If you
Yes.
can basket weave, you can be a coach. Okay, let's just say
Yeah.
that. So at the end
Yep.
of the day, there is a lot of people out here that need who we are and what we do. We don't have to compete. It's not about competition, guys. Do what you are intended to do, and everything else will work out. Even when we're talking about just ministry in general, you don't have to compete. There's enough souls out there to be saved and brought to God in any kind of format that needs to be brought. It has nothing to do with who can get to the finish line first. It's about,
Yes.
are you going to get up and are you going to even get up and get in the race?
Come on. Come on.
Don't
Come
worry about
on.
the finish line. Worry about, are you getting up for the race? And that's what I think a lot of us are missing. We want to push so hard that we're missing the things that we need. And I'm going to touch on this, and somebody's going to hate me. I don't give a ham sandwich and biscuit. Okay, we are using too many tools to do things quickly, and we're losing the authenticity of who we are. We're using
Yeah.
so many other things that's not you. You're talking to a computer. I know we all use it. You're talking to something and it tells you and you're producing 100 books, and you can't even tell what your introduction was what was the introduction to your first chapter of your book? You can't even remember because you didn't even create it.
That's
You
it.
letting
That's it.
everybody else create it. You letting every programs create it. Create what God has put in you. The tools are used for you to go back and edit, for you to say things correctly, for it to look
Yeah.
polished. But if it's not you speaking,
Yes.
it ain't authentic. It's
And
fabricated.
you hit something, because I think that because of the new age of the AI and all of that, yes, those are to be used to edify and uplift your product, not to take away from the original. Now, you can go in and give it an idea, but you
Right.
still have to put the meat into it.
That's
You
it.
still got to go in and put your feelings and what you want your reader or what you want your client to know about the
Exactly.
product. And that's just like even when I was doing publishing, when I would go back and I would read, over what someone was saying, I want to make sure that I'm reading it in the way that you are wanting to express
That
it
part.
to your reader.
That's right.
I can't go in and put myself into it because I'm not in your brain.
You're
I
not in
have to read it and edit it. But then, like you said, those tools now are to help just take it to that next level, that polished
right.
level, but not to take away from the meat of it. And
That's
again, I think, like you said, a lot of people, are beginning to produce so much that they don't know. And that's why when I edit my books, I
Yeah,
always go back and I have to make sure it feels like me.
that's
You get what
it.
I'm
That's
saying?
it.
Because if the book doesn't feel like you, and there's a bunch of tools, Chat
All
GPT,
that
all
stuff.
those other one stuff, and like I say, it's great to have because I use those things at the end of the
Yes,
day to make sure after my product is finished
that's
that I
right.
am saying the right thing, that my grammatical,
That's right.
wording is correct. So I use those to that advantage. I don't
Exactly. Me
use
too.
it to start it from the beginning and to, you know,
Yeah.
and
Me-
that's what a lot of people have been doing.
Right.
And how do you know
That's
if
right.
it's true and authentic?
That's right.
Because it must speak to the heart.
Come on now.
And if it's not speaking to the heart from where your heart is from, then
That's
that's
right.
when you can tell that it's not authentic.
That's exactly right. Guys, I hope you're taking notes on these things because we're giving you nuggets and we're giving you things that some people, let's just be real. Some people ain't going to tell you that. They're going to tell you the total opposite. Go out there, you can find, and hey, do whatever you feel led to do. But I want to be authentic with what I do. I don't want it, like you said, those tools are used to enhance and improve. It's not to take over your thought and for it to do it for you. You need to do you need to be the person that's doing it, not
Yeah.
somebody else. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
a lot of times that's what people do. But at the same token, it's time for us to realize that you have to be the real you. You cannot afford to be a sloppy second.
Come on, come on. I
I'm
want to say
sorry.
something right. Before you go any further, I want to say this. When I was writing my officiant training book, it took me at least 3 years to do that because I had grown in a lot of areas.
Right.
It gave me a foundation. So now I've edited that book and I think I've got the new edition out there, but it came from growth. And
Right.
everybody, when you're working with people and you're trying to tell them if you want to write a book or if you want to do this or whatever, make sure you're coming from experience.
That's right. That part right there. That part
Because
right
I
there.
can tell you how to do this. Everybody can Google. You
Come
can
on
Google
now.
anything you want to Google. But until you go through the experience
That's
of
right.
what you're writing about and how you had to literally, when I tell people, I was in such a place where I was like, every time I woke up every morning, I was crying
Yeah.
because I missed my mom so bad. I was like, I can't function. I can't
Right.
function. How am I going to
Right.
function, God? And he was like, okay, all right. I need to let you go ahead and process. And I'm still going through the grief
Oh yeah. Yes,
process.
we are.
And you will go through that. But once you get to a point that you now have gone through that next hurdle, that's where your book, whatever you're writing about, you
Whatever you're
can
doing.
use that. You can use that. And sometimes some books will never be finished because you're still on a journey. It could be edition one, edition two,
Two.
edition three, whatever.
That is.
Some books are made to be taught, to teach you just the basics. But some
That's
books,
right.
they have to go along with your journey.
That's right. That's right. You are so and I want to go back to and then I'm gonna give the final mic to you. uh a couple of months back, I think it was. Look, y'all, I still got the brain fog, so sometimes I say yesterday and it might have been 200 years ago. But a few weeks back, I'm gonna put it that way. I was following through with some things that I was just catching up with, seeing some things that you were doing. I think I've even shared some people, through the efficient corner thingy. Look, how you can reach out to Catrina. I'm not one of those people that I like doing what I do for weddings, and that's floral arrangements and all of that good stuff over there. I let Catrina deal with the bridezillas that I deal with on the other side. Yeah, I'll let you have the other part. But I was going through and like you were talking about the several different books that you have done and some of the things that you got coming up. And I was like, guy, here it is, these 4 books that the rough drafts are still sitting here on my desk. When am I when am I supposed to do with it? And the other day, guy said, okay, here it is. I told you to go back and finish the one book that, stop being a people pleaser. And I said, but God, I am so not sure if I'm over that, because when I started writing about, walking on eggshells, stop being a people pleaser, I was at a place where I thought I was out of it. But in 24, God reminded me that I hadn't finished the process yet, right? And so when you're talking about doing it and completing the process and you continue to grow from it, that is one book that I know that is going to be a continuous, because people pleasing and doing things for the wrong reason for other folks is never a good place to be. You become an imposter and you don't even realize it.
Mm.
And so,
Get out of my book. Get out of my book. Get out of
oh,
my
oh
book.
Lord, I'm sorry. But
No, but that's a good thing because again, people don't realize we as I'm not going to say perfectionists,
right.
but those of us that when we take on ministry, whatever level it is, again,
Yep.
like I said earlier, we want people to like us. We want people to follow us. We
Yep.
want people to join us along this journey. But where you overstep your bound, and I
Yep.
remember one of my old pastors, he got on me in my previous marriage. He says, "You are an enabler."
Come on now. Been
And
there.
an enabler and people pleaser are the exact same thing.
You better say it. Because it's
When you realize that, okay, you know what? I'm just doing this because I want him to love me.
right. Right.
It's the bottom line.
That's it.
And I'm doing everything he want me to do. I'm trying to please him, but he's still not loving me like I deserve to be loved.
That's part. But
Okay, when is the light going to go off? So
exactly.
I'm just going to say this. When you realize that you have finally come to that point where, I'm no longer going to be that person,
Yep.
that somebody else is waiting for that. Again, the people that God has for you, Pastor Victoria, when you
Mm,
release that, those people are going to gravitate towards that because that's what they needed. Just the same way I released Finally Free. I knew at
yep.
that time that there were a bunch of people that were even in my family. I had a lot of my family that were a part of this journey along with me. And I
Right.
was very surprised that they bought the books because
Wow.
my family, and I love my family, and some of them probably are on tonight, or we may hear this later. A lot of times, our family don't support us.
Girl, bye. What you say?
We have to all of the money that I get from my weddings are from outside. I don't know
Yep.
these people from a can of paint or
Yep.
their referrals, but when we realize that all of our money is not going to come from our family. Family's not going to always support you. You can give them the world. You
That's
can try to
it.
please them from here to Timbuktu. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. And when you
No,
realize that and say, you know what, I got to let this go.
it is what it is.
I'm giving up myself.
That's right.
I'm giving away myself. And it took me a long time to even find who Katrina was. I
I
had to
know
really go back and look and say, who in the heck is Katrina? Who is she? I was mom, I was wife, I was, minister, I was, this and that. But,
who
I
is
remember
real.
one time you talked about taking off the layers, taking off the mask, peeling the onion.
Wow.
Don't think about those things have always stuck in
Wow.
my head. When
Wow.
you realize that, you know it is what it is. I just got to
Wow.
be me. I got to love me, and I gotta love me just like I am. I gotta go in, and even that ugly piece of me that I don't like, as long as God, keeps using me and He keeps,
Yeah.
getting to the root of that ugly part of me,
Yeah.
and getting that out. That was part of what the fasting was for me and my daughter to go back and
Yep.
pull out those roots,
That part.
those things that we have been holding on to generationally for so long that was holding us back.
Yeah.
And that's what you got to do. You got to put the work in.
That's
don't
it.
be don't be afraid to put the work in, guys. Don't be
Oh,
afraid. Do
mm,
it. Just do it.
just do it. Guys, I don't know about you, but I have enjoyed this hour with my dear friend, colleague, comrade, home girl, whatever you want to call us. I've enjoyed having you on the show tonight, Catrina. And you know, this ain't going to be the last time that you come back on Uncensored Conversation. I'm always looking for a co-host too, just so you know. But I want to let you see, you never know. Miss Carrie out there, she's been I've been threatening her for the last 6 months. So
Oh Lord.
because every now and then I need a break. And why not
Yeah.
share the stage? But
Yeah.
you have been such a world of information on tonight. Guys, we did not even cover a third of who the real Catrina Reese is. We only touched on some highlights, but stay tuned, reach out to her, start following her, seeing what she's doing. Look at her from those positive eyes that you're going to see. Because when I tell you there's something great about happening with her and the things that she's doing. Pastor Yolanda, she been in the room with us all night. Look, we were teasing her. We was like, she gave us up for adoption. But we know she loves us. But it's so many and so true. You have given us so many good nuggets on tonight that it has given us something to look forward to, for us to move forward to in the next level. And the things that we're going to be moving to in 2026, guys, you don't want to miss it. We might have some other projects coming. You just might want to be be nosy for the right reason.
Amen.
But when you're being nosy, always be unique and be who you are. Don't be someone else. Don't be a clone. Be your own and unique self. Just like Yolanda Smith said today, being unique. And this, because guess what? It's all about being who God and purposed you to do. When you love yourself first, everybody else will learn to love who you are. Not everybody's going to love you anyway. Oh, well, but that's okay.
Mm.
As long as you love yourself first, as long as you can commit to who you are to yourself, that's the most important thing. So, Catrina, thank you so much for being on the show tonight. We will be talking in the next couple of weeks. We're going to bring you back. We're going to bring back all of the good folks that are going to be on the Favor Sphere Conference that, again, is sponsored by People of Unity, Faith, and Praise Ministry. We did have that under our umbrella with Victoria Elevates, but when God brought us into ministry, Catrina, he said Favor is Fair is going to be a part of that. And that's why we moved it over to that atmosphere, because we wanted to do some things and we wanted to target some very deep information. Guys, stay tuned, because in May we are going to be having the Favor is Fair Conference right here in the beautiful city of Greensboro. And Miss Catrina Reese is one of our workshop hostesses, and you do not want to miss it. I'm excited. Catrina, I could just sit here all night and just listen to you talk. It's been such a long time. But we're not going to make it be as long this next go around. In 26, 27, guys, we're just going to be doing some things. I feel that urge to reconnect with some people for the right reason, reconnect with some people that are building, because sometimes we're around the wrong people and we're stunning our own growth, y'all. You got to start understanding when you're around the right people, the right sources. What you say the other day, Pastor Yolanda, sometimes you got to learn how to cut folks off. And when you're doing it for the right reason, it begins to open up doors for you to be able to do some other things. So guys, stay tuned. There's other things that we're going to be doing here on Uncensored Conversation. There's other things that's coming in the works behind the scenes. You may not see us all the time, but one thing you can be sure of is that we're building for something greater, what God has purposed in our life. So guys, I am Victoria Holland. I am the CEO of Victoria Elevates, and we are here on Uncensored Conversation. We're elevated, not tolerated. It's time for you to be empowered, embraced, and be educated to be elevated and not tolerated. We will see you next time. Catrina, stay with me for a little bit.